Photo Uno Photography School presents Digital Photography Tips. Today, we're going to talk about how to choose your camera. Hi, my name is Patricia Bermicki, and I'm one of the founders of Photo Uno Photography School. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 tips on how to choose your camera. So, my tip number 1 is decide what you need. What are you going to use the camera for, and what's your budget? Let's say, when I'm doing portrait work, I normally like to take a camera that's going to allow me to get great quality shots, and I really don't mind taking a big camera with me. I do mind that it's a camera that allows me to use lenses that are specific for portraits. Now, when I'm traveling, my mindset is totally different. So I normally like to take something that's smaller but still gives me the opportunity of changing lenses. Finally, if I'm just going around and I really want to have a camera in my pocket, probably I'm going to go with a smaller size camera. The most important thing is to know that, generally speaking, bigger cameras that allow you to use different lenses are going to cost more than smaller cameras. But really the most important thing is that you find that perfect combination of 1, what are you going to use the camera for? 2, what is your budget? And there's always a great option for you out there. Tip number 2 is choose a type of camera. Out there are 3 types of cameras: DSLRs, mirrorless, and compact cameras. So let's talk about DSLR cameras. These are the ones that people call professional cameras. These are normally larger in size, their price point tends to be higher, and they offer most lens options. Now, let's talk about mirrorless cameras. Mirrorless cameras are relatively new in the market. The really nice thing about these is that they still allow us to change lenses. Compared to a DSLR, their size tends to be smaller, their price tends to be lower, and they have fewer lens options. Finally, there are the compact cameras, also known as point-and-shoot cameras. The really nice thing about these is that you can fit them in your pocket. Compared to a mirrorless camera, they're smaller in size, their price point tends to be lower, but in terms of lenses, you don't have many options. The lens that comes with the camera, it's the lens that you're going to have. Now, my 3rd tip is search online for available options. In order to search for camera options, I'm going to go to Google search and type in entry-level DSLR cameras. I already can see some options popping out. I see Canon, Nikon, Olympus, and so on. Then I will click on this link, and as I browse the link, I can see that the camera brands start to repeat themselves. I see Nikon D5300, Nikon D5200, Canon T5i, Canon T3i, Nikon D5100, Canon Rebel SL1. Generally speaking, the higher the number of the camera, the newer the model. The lower the number, the older the model. Now, I have narrowed my search down and the options have been reduced considerably. So all I have to do is pick the cameras that I see that repeat themselves the most. I would say 10 cameras, and I can now go and search for reviews. Now that you have searched for options, my 4th tip is check out reviews. To search for camera reviews, I will go to our website I love, which is called deepreview.com. Deepreview.com is a website that has comprehensive reviews of digital cameras, lenses, user reviews, and a lot of active forums for digital cameras. Now, I'm going to suggest you to go up here where it says cameras and go to one option that says side-by-side camera comparison. This is a feature I really like because here I can type in my 10 top options. So let's say I want to compare the Canon T5i, then I want to compare the Nikon D5300, then I want to compare the Pentax K1500, here it is, the Sony SLT A5800. Note that as I'm clicking on the options, these are being added to this list.
Then finally, let's say Canon SL1, which is like a small body camera. And then I'm going to click here in where it says compare. Now it's going to open another tab that offers me their reviews. So I can see their score, I can see when the review was made, and this is important because you always want to be fair when comparing cameras, meaning you want to compare cameras that were launched in a similar year, at similar date, sorry. And then another thing I really like to see, it's also, okay, it shows you the price range. It also shows you down here something that I find very important and whenever you're thinking about printing, and these are the megapixels. You know, the higher the megapixels, it allows you to print bigger. So if this is important, that's something that you want to consider. Another thing that it's really important, let's say for me, it's the ISO performance, because the ISO, the higher the ISO number, the better I can work in low light situations, and it's really cool to compare and see how these ISO performances change, you know, among the different cameras. So now that you have read the different reviews, probably you will have your 3 favorite options. My next step would be to go to a camera store and try them out.
My 5th and last tip is try out your top options. By now, you should have narrowed down your search to 3 or 4 cameras. In my opinion, the best thing to do is to go to a camera store and try those options out. The first thing I like to do is look at the camera, see how it feels in my hands, take some shots in the camera store, and then when I find that perfect combination, I buy it. And guess what? That's when the fun part's gonna start, because then that's when you're gonna go and enjoy photography.